AI is officially in the hiring space.
Frankly, I think the job seeker candidate community has outpaced the talent acquisition technology.
I'm more ready to declare bankruptcy on the tooling right now and go straight back to the humanity.
Try to keep my rants to a nominal level because everything's a bit of a mess.
Really feel rebellious. We should talk about whether there will be jobs in the future. Welcome back to Swift Start Go, the only show where you get to hear all about AI, tech, and culture. And today, boy, do I have something exciting for you. The state of hiring in white-collar businesses here in the US in the last 2 years has changed drastically. We are seeing what feels like constant layoffs, the government, nonprofit, and higher education roles vanishing due to DOGE and other federal cuts. And recent grads are now struggling more than ever to find their first roles out of college at the highest rates that we have ever seen. Meanwhile, AI is officially in the hiring space. Job hunters are using tools like ChatGPT to personalize their resumes for every single application, even if it means bots hallucinating their work experience on their resumes. And employers are now using a wide range of AI tools to screen candidates. Among job seekers who I have spoken to, emotionally, people seem more distraught about job hunting than ever. And that's why I wanted to talk to our two guests today. First, we have Adam Johnson, founder of one of our favorite sponsors, Cirrus North, who specifically requested this podcast episode after spotting several engineers cheating on interviews with AI tools.
Unbelievable.
Shocker.
How could anyone do that? And second, we have Paul DeBettignes. Is that pronounced correctly at all?
We go with DeBettignes. Anything after Paul I recognize.
I asked someone else for a clarification yesterday.
It's all good.
I asked multiple people for clarification.
And they all gave you different answers.
Well, no, they gave me the right answer. I just forgot.
It's all good.
And second, we have Paul
DeBettignes,
a prolific senior talent strategist and tech recruiter and owner of Minnesota Headhunter. Paul is one of my favorite people to talk about the state of hiring, and I'm incredibly excited to see what he has to tell us today. And I'm Carolyn Holden. I'm a creative technologist, your host for Swift Start Go, and I'm really excited to just dive in. So welcome, Paul and Adam. Thank you for coming.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hey, Carolyn.
Amazing.
Hi, Paul.
Hi.
DeBettignes?
DeBettignes? Yes.
Like an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Like an ice cream cone. All right. Well, Paul, my first question to you is, after going through all of this, how did we get to this point? What happened that broke or made hiring into this strange new world that we're seeing today?
So let me stipulate for this conversation that I will try to keep my rants to a nominal level, because everything's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
So your intro's spot on, and so for the job seeker folks who will watch this, all of the emotions that they are feeling are just true.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the employer side of that too. But we got here because HR, talent acquisition, started using some more tools a few years ago, even before AI though. And we'll talk about this, but we've been doing keyword matching on resumes for 15 years now. Most people think it just started with AI. We've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah.
This is not new. Now we have the AI tools, and frankly, I think the job seeker candidate community has outpaced the talent acquisition technology. And so, we create a bot, they create a bot, we create a bot, they create a bot. I actually have a theory that once we get about here, we crash and we come back to the beginning and we're all human again. But this could be a few years of some really crazy stuff. We also got here because we went from a COVID shutdown to layoffs and furloughs to the 2021 Great Resignation for a year and a half-ish, depending on region. And then we got to a very flat economy of the last 2.5 years. And so the next statement's not political, but the economy under President Biden, just look at at the data, actually it was a pretty good one, but there was a vibe session.
Yeah.
It felt not great. And quite frankly, it's almost like it is today. GDP numbers that came out yesterday actually were pretty good. The job numbers will come out tomorrow. They'll be okay. But again, I think for a lot of folks, it doesn't feel good. And so everything feels a little messy and everything feels a little uncertain. And our emotions are all higher than they used to be. And so that's how we got here.
Yeah. Adam, do you have any thoughts on how we got to this point?
I agree with all that. And like just to cherry pick a few things that I especially agree with. I mean, it's like 10, 15 years old now that you would get advice to put only white text keywords in the bottom of your resume.
I mean, it's old school and it came back.
Exactly. So I think that, applicant tracking systems like that has just been a part of life, and people who wanted to kind of gamify that experience or just accept the fact that it was a gamified thing to get past HR, that is absolutely a thing you would do, get the right keywords in there. I think that to like skip to even later comments that we'll come back to probably for all of us for various reasons. I'm already kind of at the point of bankruptcy for a lot of the tooling. Like when I'm talking, like when I'm helping a company find people or helping them evaluate candidates, I'm not really encouraging them to lean on their automated tools to be screening anyone. And when I'm talking to people that are out there trying to find their job, especially if they're early career, the advice is mostly build your network, because you got to go old school. Lovingly, I tell them to be a boomer about it. And like, you got to go hit the street, because that's the way that people are actually finding their roles, is through their networks, and that the traditional systems have really broken down. You're just getting deluges of resumes showing up. But I also agree with, everything that Paul was saying about just kind of the dynamics over the last, say, 5 or 6 years. Maybe like life began at 2019 or something like that. And then COVID happened, and the rest is like, been kind of a time warp and time dilation experience that a lot of different things have happened throughout. And I would also second and agree with the disconnect kind of, I think in political economic terms, I've heard the phrase K-shaped recovery, coming out of the pandemic or going through pandemic, where not everyone was as able to be successful as a professional going fully remote. And so I think there was a real separation in the workforce there. And now it's even that has become more chaotic, because I don't know if you touch on this specifically, but I think like a lot of the return to office stuff is just layoffs by other means.
And that's a whole podcast too.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're hitting a lot of fun topics. So like, I don't know, I'm just going to like get off my little soapbox about that. But I mean, I agree with everything that Paul said, except maybe I'm more ready to declare bankruptcy on the tooling right now and go straight back to the humanity. It's not a no-win. Like, I'm sure people are still finding jobs using online tools and automated systems, but I've lost my patience for it.
Yeah.
It was about 2 months ago, I was on a really severe rant with a CHRO, Chief Human Resources Officer, friend of mine. And I was pissed about just everything, all of this stuff that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And while I was speaking with her, like, I hopped on GoDaddy and I picked up the domain name startbeinghuman.com.
Love it.
And I said to her, 2 years from now, this is going to be like my HR TA talk that I will do. And this was the beginning of April. I went to a national recruiter conference in Vegas, and then we had here in Minneapolis, we had Minibar, we had Open Source North, we had Mini Analytics, we had Enterprise Rising. It was at the end of Open Source North. I kept saying at each event I was going to do this thing, and each time someone said, well, not 2 years, next year, someone goes this fall. At the end of Open Source North, at the end of May, someone goes, you should just do it 2 months from now. Like, this topic needs to be now, not 2 years from now.
Yeah.
And it really got me thinking about how people are feeling about this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw your talk at Minibar a couple months ago. And one of the things that you talked about there, which I found very interesting, was the amount of people who are applying for each roles. Because if you go on LinkedIn and when you're applying there, it seems like every single job has over 100 applicants. And of course, it doesn't tell you if it's 102 or if it's 500 or if it's 1,000. And you said something that I thought was pretty interesting, that those numbers are not typically very accurate.
So thank you for bringing this up. I hadn't yes. I remembered our conversation, but that particular, because this is, again, when we're on LinkedIn and it says, X number of people have applied for this role.
Yeah.
X number of people clicked a button.
Yeah.
They clicked the apply button, the easy apply button.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they actually finished the whole process.
Yeah.
And so if we gave a hypothetical that we're looking for a senior React developer, it can be in any city. We'll call it Minneapolis. And let's say 100 people actually did apply. Mm-hmm. By the time we figure out how many of those folks are in, and let me again stipulate for this conversation. I mean, look right over there when I do it. That we know that we're talking about humans when we talk about this stuff. We are talking about people with college debt and mortgages and kids and aging parents, right? So when we talk about these numbers, though, I don't want it to make it sound like we're not thoughtful when we're talking about humans. But if we have 100 people, you can almost knock out the first 15 or 20 that they are not in the U.S.
Interesting.
The next group of them, it could be 5 to 15, might need to be sponsored through an H-1B visa.
Yeah.
Now we're at least down to half. You went from 100 to 50 quick.
Yep.
Then how many of them actually going to your previous comment about, like, how many of them want to be in an office 5 days a week or hybrid 3 days a week? So 50 is now probably 35. We haven't then gotten to, are they qualified, salary range, like, do we like them as humans? They have not yet interviewed us to figure out, like, do we want to come work there?
Yeah.
So 100 is actually, you're getting down to 10 or 15 quick, and then I'm willing to compete against 10 people or 15 people. So it's no longer 100. The other quick statistic, though, that LinkedIn came out with in the last days, and I'm not going to have it totally accurate. It was some stupid number that last year or in Q1, again, but they're using that click button statistic, it was like 10,000 applications a minute globally on the LinkedIn system. 10,000 a minute.
Yeah.
And so we start getting into, like, and we will talk about this, like, how are candidates using AI tools, easy apply buttons, how do employers handle this? And it goes back, that's a bit of also your original, like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And so if it is easy to understand why job seekers are frustrated. Mm-hmm. It's why I wanted to say it that way in the beginning. Like, this is, it's daunting right now.
Yeah.
I also want to chime in and just like, the levels of nonsense are mind-blowing, and it's occurring on both sides of the line.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like for a lot of I don't think we've hit this topic specifically, but there's this phrase, ghost jobs, right? And I think a lot of these companies are keeping what in happier times might have been referred to as evergreen positions. Yep. And they're like, hey, we know we're a big company and we want a mid-level Java engineer because we need endless amounts of them, and there's a certain amount of natural turnover. And that makes sense. It makes less sense if there's been a hiring freeze at your company for 12 months or 15 months, and then there's some increasing dishonesty there. So that's giving false hope, I think, to a lot of these applicants, and it just drives more of the behaviors that Paul is talking about and everyone else is seeing in those numbers, which is, well, there's a huge slew of tools out there that say, hey, give your resume to this tool, and it is going to go bulk apply to 3,000 open positions.
While you sleep.
Exactly. And so, I think you used the phrase earlier, Paul, where it's like, it is like an arms race right now of the bulk submission tools, of, companies using applicant tracking systems. And then a lot of those jobs, is anyone actually going to be hiring for that job in the next 3 months? I mean, again, to be fairly charitable here, maybe they're trying to collect qualified candidates for when the hiring freeze goes away or when there's budget 3 or 6 months down the road. That's probably still not what most of the candidates are thinking when they're applying. And
so two thoughts. So first of all, let me say that I fully agree with what you were saying about what jobs are real or not. There is one thing worth noting is that, and this is the part where I'm putting a swear filter into my brain. There was that one survey that came out that said, like 9 months ago, that 85% of the jobs posted were fake. It's such a bullshit survey.
Yeah.
The survey itself, the company itself is flawed. The survey was, in order to answer the survey, you had to stipulate that you were over the age of 25, that you had been in your role, not a specific role, your role, for more than 5 years, that your income had to be over $70,000 and then something else. But nowhere did it say you had to be a recruiter, a talent acquisition person, or a hiring manager. We don't even know who freaking answered the survey. But by the way, the company that sponsored the survey is a resume writing service. It might be in their best interest to have had a survey that literally went viral, that literally went global for their business. And so it's those folks, and it's the ones who are on LinkedIn. I appreciate that everybody needs to earn a living, and I appreciate the economy is difficult right now, but I am tired of the TikTok, LinkedIn, social media influencers who are given some really horrific advice. And so, but there is this, though. It is important to say, like, so with the group that I'm with now, it's a Series A startup in San Francisco. I have reposted our senior software engineer role every 2 weeks. Now, I take the other ones down.
Sure.
So when someone says that X number of roles are available in an area, was my role counted as one or counted as 5?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So it's really important that it's easy to read a headline.
Yeah.
But to dig into the statistics a little bit, to be a little thoughtful, and to be a little skeptical of the things that we're consuming. And at some point, we got to stop doing the doom scrolling on LinkedIn too.
Yeah. And I mean, there are so many of these buzzy headlines of stories where I'm not sure how many of them are legit or not. I mean, some of the ones that I've heard recently includes obviously the phenomena of single people working multiple jobs at once. There was one really big splashy headline that came out, a couple of weeks ago?
The guy on the West Coast who had like 6 VC or 6 venture, was working at 6 different venture-backed companies.
Yeah.
And I know that
they were all Y Combinator too, weren't they?
They were all Y Combinator startups, which is really funny. And I know it's a real phenomenon because I had a friend who literally told me I should do that a couple months ago. He's like, oh, why don't you apply for this? And I said, oh, like that's way below what I would normally do. And the salary is quite low. He's like, well, then you could automate most of it and take on another job. And I was like, oh, that's something you're doing? Oh, okay. That's not something I'm super comfortable with doing, but that's one that I've heard a lot. The other one that I've been hearing about, and I know we've talked about this, is people impersonating other individuals and applying for roles. And in some of the cases, apparently they're North Koreans. Now, how much of this is made up versus like how much of this is real? Like,
so there is. If you're hiring remote workers, and your Spidey sense is not going off 4 times a day, you might want to get a new Spidey sense because there is a lot of fraud on remote roles on the applicant side. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of, who showed up on the camera for the first interview is not who showed up for the camera on the second interview. Yeah. And this is the part where some of the HR technology is trying to catch up to, can we do screenshots of individuals? Mm-hmm. So we can go, oh, this is that same person, or maybe it's not. It's why some people are saying, it's why some companies, again, are like, well, we'll at least, even for remote roles, we're going to hire or we're going to interview in person. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They would rather suck up the cost of the airfare and the hotel and the time that it's going to take, because they don't have to worry about some nefarious actor or bad actor is trying to game the system or steal their technology.
At least add it to the round. I mean, like it's worth the fly-in, and you can call it a culture round, but it's also like an identity verification to make sure someone's not running a shell game on you, because that is happening a lot.
And so there is 2 groups in HR tech who are, I'll use the phrase, playing around with. Can you create a better than 80% digital polygraph? And the technology's there. Like you can look at pupils and see pulse rates, and like it's getting a little creepy. Yeah. Which if I'm a candidate, I'm pissed off about. Like, to be clear, what are you doing with my info and my photo and all my stuff? And I get that. If you were the CEO, you'd be wondering why you didn't yet have this in place. Right. And so this is the part about, I think this is the part where technology has outpaced humans. Mm-hmm. We don't even know what some of the norms are to some of this stuff yet. Yeah. And we may not for a while. And and that's how I get speechless, which doesn't normally happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's kind of interesting to watch all this stuff happen live. And back to Carolyn, I think you mentioned it like at the top of the show, but like part of the discussion starter around even having this type of discussion topic around the podcast is like, hey, I run a small consulting company. Like we are a boutique company there's like less than, there's about a half dozen people that I'm working with on a day-to-day basis. And also like our client base is pretty small, and quite a few people are local. Almost all of our clients are folks that I've run into from my personal or professional network. So it's all pretty high trust. Yep. So as a part of that, it means that like if I have run out of people that I know to help steer towards some of these opportunities, I'm not going to go to like just the market at large. I'm going to try really hard to leverage my network to get personal referrals from people that I trust. And so I was in a fortunate position where we had a few different projects that were on our radar all at the same time. And I had run out of those options. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a job post. I didn't go, nothing against anyone in particular, I didn't go put it on LinkedIn. I didn't go put it on Indeed. Like I knew enough about some of the things that we're talking about that I'm not going to put it on a job posting like clearinghouse type of site. But I put it on some local Slack communities, and I put it in like some basically chat groups of people that I knew and trusted. And that worked really well, actually. I would say that it got me 20 people into the job post. And then almost all of them, really did have like the qualities and the attributes that we were looking for.
Yeah. No North Koreans in there?
Hopefully not. Although there's still like some people in the pipeline that I maybe haven't looked at in a while. So I can't say for sure. But what struck me is like, so mostly that worked. Mostly that was a way to kind of evade a lot of the nonsense that was out there. But something happened at some point, like some scraper got to that post somehow.
Shot it out somewhere.
Yeah, and I don't know how, but a flurry of learning experiences happened in a short period of time for me. Even
hold on, learning experience.
Yeah, which
learning experiences.
I'm very constructive in my mindset.
So polite of you.
Yes,
so polite.
So one is there were a few people that came in that did not appear to reside within the United States. And so that's kind of warning number one, because I was actually looking for people that were specifically in the Twin Cities area. And then along with that, some of those folks, like the resume just had a certain character to it. And I would say the resume was 6 to 8 pages long and was just like a wall of buzzwords for every position. But a couple of these were not quite so egregious, and they appeared to relate back to real individuals that did live in the United States, or at least had a LinkedIn profile and a resume that said that they lived in the United States. And so I set up a screen. And during that screen, I think I had like my first experience of someone reading back off of an AI teleprompter.
Yeah.
And, there were some giveaways pretty early on. There was a little bit of a pause after I would ask a question and before they would give their answer. And their answers were generally appropriate, but very heavy on the buzzwords and very light on the specifics. And, I'll give a shout out to a past employer, which is Kipsu, which is in downtown Minneapolis here. And years ago now, when I was working there, they had done some dedicated training around behavioral interview techniques. And so, to put it bluntly, my bullshit filter is pretty good. Yep. So it took about a minute or two for me to notice that this is pretty suspect behavior. But I don't want to be unkind to humans. It's someone in that position, like I'm not going to pretend to know what situation they're in. I'm not going to judge anyone. But in that moment, I'm like, this is a learning experience for me. Yeah. I'm like, there's a lot of this stuff out there, and I kind of wanted to test my own, techniques. Like, where can I find like the weak spots or the edges of it? And I think I was surprised because they were not actually technical screens. They were preliminary screens. This is another podcast to talk about the technical screens that exist for the engineering community out there. And then I will also put on, these positions were for cloud and DevOps. And if you're expecting your cloud or DevOps engineer to like write an algorithm from scratch, like with no resources for fun, like you have some big problems on whoever designed that interview loop and rubric in that position anyways. But this was kind of a vibe screen, honestly, to see would these people proceed to more, rigorous technical, follow-up questions. And I was kind of just shocked. Maybe I'm naive. I was shocked that people would use an AI teleprompter type of device to get through just like get to know you questions and the behavioral questions. And so that was kind of a revelation for me. It turns out that like one of them, I was asking about it. They were telling me about their role and their team and about the application they were working on. And they just gave me all this big long of buzzwords about like, oh, it was definitely on AWS and it was microservices and it was highly scalable and very secure. All this stuff. And I went with it and I was like, oh yeah, of course. Like really glad to hear that. I'm like, but could you tell me again, just like what did the application do? And they paused.
Awkward pause.
And then they kind of gave me the same BS answer again. And I was like, oh, like, I think we're on the same page there. The architecture that you described is totally appropriate, but my question's dumber than that. Specifically.
Oh, I love that question.
Yeah, I'm like...
No, hold on. I got to remember this one.
Yeah, right?
That's a fantastic question to ask.
So I was like, the application that you worked on, what did it do for the business? And I was like, and then I saw the person start to squirm and start to sweat. And it was pretty much game over because I had just asked for about a specific thing. It had nothing to do with the resume. It had nothing to do with the position. It had nothing to do with some technobabble architecture. It was just like, can you tell me like,
and the answer is no.
Why the thing existed? Because like no AI can just like confabulate that out of nowhere. Or if it did, it didn't do a good job or it wasn't fast enough. I don't know. But so I kind of like, again, back to the behavioral interview techniques is like, tell me about a time when you did X and it has to be a real experience. And then as soon as they start talking about anything hypothetical, just like go in on that and say, nope, only interested in things that you actually did. And then ask them about like, what were you thinking when that happened? Who were you talking to? How did you hear about that? And it all falls apart pretty easily. But again, just back to the simple thing. I was shocked that I thought I had taken all of these measures to kind of like reduce the surface area of my job posting to even getting candidates like this. And then beyond that, I was shocked at like, this is a get to know you interview. And like, you need an AI. Well, someone thought that was going to help them.
Yeah. It dawns on me that when we were at that mini bar presentation that we did it back in May now? I'm losing track of time. I mentioned back then that I had a slide that up until it was current up until about the beginning of June, where if you applied for a role at Anthropic, you had to, in a drop-down menu, agree that you would not use AI tools during your interview process.
Yeah.
They've actually walked that back now.
Really?
And so they have said under these conditions you can, and under these you cannot. And that I'm oversimplifying this.
Yeah.
But this is the part where, right? So first of all, I remember being very sarcastic that day. Well, I was about the whole thing, but that I thought sarcastically that it was interesting that one of the largest AI groups in the world said you can't use an AI tool while doing this.
Yeah.
Seemed weird to me.
Quite ironic.
We're trying to do this again for Ventura. We're trying to figure out where we had been doing online assessments. We've now gone on to doing whiteboard sessions, and we're doing everything. Everything's a video interview right now.
Yep.
And we're but part of it though is we're also prepping candidates ahead of time to let them know. Here's what we're going to be doing. Here's what this is going to feel like. Here's the tool we're going to use. So if you want to go download and play with Excalidraw, whatever it is,
sure,
that you can get used to like how the cursor will work, and here's how you're going to draw and this stuff. Because we're trying to figure out like, but part of what we do is we've taken 35 years of healthcare data and we're creating a tool using AI to figure out what health insurance should a small business or an individual have.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be if AI is baked in our tool, we also probably need to know that you can use it, that you understand it and you can comprehend it.
Yeah.
And so again, we get to this part of how did we get here? Like when we get done with this conversation, we're going to have a very long list of ingredients that create a really, I don't know how the stew is going to taste when it's done. I was just going to say it might be an amazing or it could be gross. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to cut to our first commercial break.
All right.
This show has been brought to you by Cirrus North, and I'm here with the founder of Cirrus North, Adam Johnson. Adam, can you tell us about Cirrus North?
Well, Carolyn, I would be happy to tell you about Cirrus North. We are a small boutique consulting firm. We do some contracting, consulting, and fractional work in the cloud and DevOps space primarily. Is your cloud costing you too much money? Is it sad and things are tipping over?
I think it's very sad and very much tipping.
It happens to the best of us.
It does.
We're definitely the people to help you out with that. And also me specifically, I have a fun background in management and executive roles in the technology area. And I like helping companies of all sizes plug gaps, find good people, and solve problems they might be facing. So reach out, talk about any of that stuff. Love to have a conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you to Cirrus Nord. Welcome back, everybody. That was super exciting. Thank you so much. I'm really excited for this next section where I want to talk about what should people be doing when it comes to applying for roles nowadays, whether it's AI related or not. Now, back when we were at Minibar a couple months ago, you were talking about the infamous LinkedIn green banner. What do you think about that? And what do you think people should be thinking about when it comes to social media or using AI tools for job hunting?
So if you've been on LinkedIn in the last 2 minutes or 2 days
Or 10 years.
you probably will have seen a social media influencer wannabe give the advice that you should not use the green open to work banner. And they will say that that is because you look desperate, or there's just all of what they call negative reasons why you shouldn't do this.
Right.
I don't agree with that. And this is me being super polite about it.
You're very polite.
If there were ever a place that one should say that they are open to work, it's probably a LinkedIn type website.
Yeah.
And so now, do will some crappy recruiters hold that against you? Yes.
But they're crappy, so we don't care.
And so there it is. And so you probably didn't want to speak with them, and you probably didn't want to work there anyway.
Right.
Because there is some bias about wanting to hire people who are employed versus those who are unemployed. Yeah. I would suggest that COVID taught us, and the last 2 years have taught us that that's just not true. If you're going to lop off 15% of your company, some really good folks got taken out in that process.
Yeah.
That's just true. I would suggest that for as many opportunities as one might lose with the open to work, you're probably going to get 3x more.
Right.
So call it the cost of doing business. But I did. I was, earlier this year, I was between gigs and I'm like, wow, my pipeline really sucks. I should really let people know. Because while, yes, you can find me online, and yes, I do these speaking things, I'm an introvert at heart. Let me stipulate that I hate the word hate. I hate talking about me, though. I can talk about everybody and everything else in our technology community and the cool events that we get to attend and the cool people we get to meet and you folks who I do not want to talk about me. So I'm going to use a tool that talks for me. Yeah. And that'll be one of them.
We might align on that, by the way. Some of us even stoop to sponsoring podcasts just to force the act of self-promotion.
This show has been brought to you by Cirrus Nord.
That's so good. And we should take these opportunities. Like, we should.
Yeah.
So I think I sound negative when I talk about the use of AI. I think that there are a lot of ways to be able to use it.
Yeah.
Again, going back to that presentation, I was trying to write just a bio for me for a speaking gig I was going to have. And again, I hate writing my own stuff. Like I would literally leave this room to go to another room to go work on Paul DeBettignes to change my mindset. I really climb up that hard.
Yeah.
So I dropped into ChatGPT. I dropped my last 3 bios. I took my LinkedIn profile. I put everything that I had into it. And I said, give me 3 versions of a bio for me. And I didn't do anything about tone or length or anything. Just give me 3 bios. And they all sucked as bad as the one that I already had. But then I said, take these 3 bios, combine it into one, and make it sound like I wrote it. Freaking nailed it. I still use it today. It was a huge home run. That would have taken me like half a kidney and 4 weeks to have done manually. And I did it in it actually probably took me 90 minutes because it was that excruciating. But normally that's 4 minutes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about cover letters and AI written cover letters because nothing stops me from applying for a role than a cover letter. Nothing more. It is like my number one blocker. I just emotionally can't physically handle it. And I will only write a cover letter if it is an absolute last resort. And I have I haven't been able to reach anybody in the company. I haven't been able to network my way in. I haven't been able to do any of that. That's the only time I'll do it.
There's the social media influencer wannabes will tell you that corporate recruiters or hiring managers don't read cover letters. Okay?
Right.
That's also false. Some do. I am one of them. If you took the time, and I don't care how many candidates, if you took the time to write me something, I owe you the time to actually read it. What's the percentage of people who do read it or don't? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I would be using an AI tool. Like it's like all this stuff. Like, yes, you should probably take the job description and you should take your resume, drop it in a tool, and whatever your prompt is about writing me a cover letter, and probably ask for 3 or 4 versions and ask it then to write one, and then make sure it actually sounds like you.
Yeah.
Because we keep coming back to that presentation that from Minibar, but
right.
I gave an example of a hiring manager. This went viral in the talent acquisition community on LinkedIn. There was a hiring manager who posted like his Gmail, and it showed the subject lines of like the last 50 messages that he had received in that time period. And I can't remember what the words were, innovative and something else. In the word innovative or variations of that, and another word I can't remember, were in every line. And his post was, these words are not in my job description or my career page. And what happens is you can only write a prompt so many ways that actually make it sound like you before you sound like everybody else.
Yeah.
It's no different than job descriptions, though, when I'm writing them, right? Like we've been critiquing job descriptions I've been at this 27 years, however many that is, and job descriptions generally suck.
Yeah.
And so we are using on the recruiting side these tools to be able to say, now make this sound like a startup, now make us sound fun, now make us sound not like everybody else, and the language does change.
Yeah.
And we should be doing that. And then same with our cover letters. Like part of my prompt for a cover letter would be make it sound like one that you haven't written for anybody else yet. Like ask the tool you're writing that you're using to not write you a cover letter like it has written for everybody else.
Yeah.
And see what that content.
Because those are the cover letters where I have gotten interviews for.
Yes.
My favorite cover letter I ever wrote, which only worked once, although I tried a few times, was I sent an application to BuzzFeed and I sent them a cover letter on why they shouldn't hire me. Should not hire me.
Oh, I love this.
And that got me the interview.
Of course it did.
And I was...
Was it 10 reasons you shouldn't hire me?
Oh, that would have been better.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Dang.
Next time.
And it got me the interview, but I was like 23. And I was...
Was that one of the reasons why they shouldn't hire you?
No, but I was scared.
Hold on.
I was
that if you're 23, you shouldn't be looking for a job, or for our intern who's in the room.
I was shaking. I couldn't stop shaking the entire interview. And they were like, you're really impressive for your age.
Oh, no. Did you have a good personality too?
Well, I had the personality, but not in the interview. I didn't sleep the night before. I was so beyond nervous.
Such a bummer.
And it was the thing was, I was such a personality fit too. I would have really rocked there. I was the exact right kind of person. And oh man, that was really sad.
We've all got those though. We've all got those. But it is to use these tools and
and so meanwhile I'm I never write cover letters. And I'm but one time I had an interview at BuzzFeed when it was the most competitive company to break into ever.
And if you would have gotten the job, that would have gone viral on LinkedIn.
I know.
And so yes to writing cover letters and resumes and practicing interviewing questions.
Yes.
And ask it. So I do this with job descriptions, and I say it then to job seekers with the resumes too. I will write a job description. I will drop it into a ChatGPT or whatever, right? And then I will ask it, after it's done and it's given me its best version, I will then say, tell me 3 reasons why a software developer would not apply for this role.
Yeah.
And then actually, it's missing stuff that the expert tool just gave me, and it's now saying, here's what it's missing.
Yeah.
Like we should check our work.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that for job seekers, like we're always using it to write bios. So I did it with mine too. Like, why would someone not want to contact me after reading my bio? And there were 2 glaring things, that I had not thought about, and clearly the tool, because it's a word predictor, did also not think about.
Yeah.
And so it is this part about, we say this, maybe we're going to say this for 15 years, that every one of these things is a draft. It's not your final document.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think that we should, this is me projecting though in part, I suppose. I think that we should be doing whatever we can to humanize ourselves in every way possible, whether that's an open to work banner, whether that is writing a cover letter. I'm a huge, and I want to know what you think about this. So I believe, I've been teaching this for years, that if you see a role, you should apply for it. By the way, don't do it through LinkedIn or don't do it through Indeed. Go to the company career page and apply there for 2 reasons. One is, if I post a job right now for Ventura, it might take 3 to 9 hours for it to get posted. When it's filled, it can take up to 2.5 days for it to get taken down.
Yeah.
And that lag in there is when you're applying for the job. So let's not do that. So like go to the company career page and see if it exists and apply there. Let's knock one of those out.
Yeah.
And then I just had a whole tangent squirrel moment right there. Right there in front of, that was it. That's what that face looks like.
I'm gonna take my opportunity here.
Do it. Go.
I
have
would. Yes,
5
go.
things.
You have 5 things?
I have 5.
Well,
I was going to prompt you with a few things, but if you have your 5 things, like,
I'll
run away with it,
I'll sit
Adam.
here and recover.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
great.
yeah,
No,
hi.
but I love everything that
Drink your water.
Paul's saying. One thing that I want to go back to is about the cover letter piece.
Right.
And I think Paul said something, that is really insightful, which is every hiring manager going to read the cover letter, or is every, recruiter or talent acquisition staff going to read the cover letter? Absolutely not. But I think there's a perverse filter here, like a good one, a positive one. And so the note that I wrote to myself, so I didn't forget it, is a hiring manager that reads your cover letter is one that you want to work for.
Yep.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I got to admit that your hit rate of getting interviews because of your cover letter, that may not be the difference maker. But if someone read your cover letter and it actually they thought something about it and they asked you about it in the interview, that's a big green flag that is a place you might actually want to work.
Yeah.
And I recognize that people, a lot of people are just looking for a job, looking for a paycheck, because especially if they've been, searching for a while. I absolutely get that. But having a bad boss is awful. And having a bad manager is awful.
It's the worst.
It is right up there.
Yeah.
And so, it is very important, that everyone, regardless where you're at, that you are interviewing them as well.
Oh, please. Yes.
Right. And so I love that I think that the cover letter is a big piece. That's a great way to start that dialogue to figure out if that's someone you want to work for. The several things that Paul brought up that I love, I think kind of fit into just it's not just this topic. It's more broadly about how people are using AI products right now. To skip to the end, I'm do not one-shot a goddamn thing. If you think you can just go into GPT and be I need a cover letter for this, and even here's the job posting, and use that, God help you. That ain't gonna work.
We can end right now.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? That's
If you're going to use ChatGPT, use it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're just going to just think it's a one and done type of experience. So, but ways that I use it all the time, I use it for brainstorming. I'm hey, I have this type of challenge in front of me and I'm looking for ideas. I used it to think about questions
I
for
was
this
just going to
podcast.
ask, did when we created this, did we use a tool?
Yes.
I would hope so.
Mixed mode. Little human, little
Yes.
I know. I used ChatGPT to brainstorm questions. I didn't like any of them. And then I asked my interns to send in some questions. And one of them's in the room here. Hubran, did you use ChatGPT for your questions at all? No.
Have we answered any of your questions yet?
We had.
We'll get there.
We have some real human-generated questions.
Yes.
Wow.
So specifically for my process, like I had some things that were in my brain, and so I, maybe had a page or two of like bullet points. But then, Paul, one of the things that you're talking about, I love ChatGPT or whatever LLM is your preferred as a blind spot identifier. And so I was like, hey, here's a bunch of questions that I thought sounded smart. And I'm going on this thing like to talk about this stuff. What am I missing? Mm-hmm. What am I like leaving on, off the table? I don't know which one. But like I wanted it to, and I will also, because specifically ChatGPT, but probably others, is so goddamn ingratiating all the time.
Oh my God, yeah.
So at the end of a lot of my prompts, I will say like, hey, here's the feedback that I'm looking for. And then I say, you can really fuck me up on this one. I'm like, I want your feedback.
Yeah.
I
have not actually done that yet.
So I encourage it to like,
thank you.
Give me the business. I want critical feedback because it always wants to tell you how great and smart you are. And like, oh, what a great question for you to be asking.
I haven't thought of it that next level though. That's fantastic.
It's sneaky like that. So throughout several pieces of your answer is really just like, these are general tactics on just how to use AI smartly, I think, as a human. And one is like a mindset shift. Like, be less of a writer, be more of an editor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that is like the people that are getting better results out of it. So I will one-shot my own ideas into the LLM and be like, I think this is cool, but now tell me why I suck. And I'll add context too about like something about the audience. I'm like, this is who I'm writing for. And if I was an applicant, I'd say like, here's the company, here's the job post. Like, I think this is good, but like, tell me why I suck. Like, I don't want to be embarrassed in the interview because I didn't think of something. So like, please help me out.
And this is the part where you can say, here's my resume, here's the job descriptions. Yep. Give me five likely interview questions I will be asked.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I remembered my second thing. It was don't use the easy apply online.
Yeah.
And my thing for you is, like if you go back to your time at Kipsu.
Yeah.
I suggest to every job seeker for every role that after you have applied that you go find a human to reach out to.
100%.
So you don't even hesitate.
Yeah. Do not hesitate. Actually, the last note on here is like, I think there's only one job that I got in my life that was like purely because I put my post, on, or I put my resume. It was back when things were rich enough times in the tech labor market that you could put your resume up on a clearinghouse and let jobs apply to you. I don't think any of those companies exist anymore. But every other time that I've found a job or helped others, the rule is find someone who knows someone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because apply online. But in even that time that I did put my resume up and the company applied to me, I found someone who knew someone who knew someone so I could get a coffee with that person because I was actually kind of terrified. I'm like, going into a new job without having some context, without knowing someone there, it could be terrible. It could be toxic or something. So, but I agree completely. Like, even if I am going through the company's, their specific website, and I'm even reasonably confident that a human got there, I'm going to try to find another human who's a first, second, or third degree connection that I can just say hi. And I'm not going to be above telling them, hey, put in a good word for me. But I'm probably not going to go directly to that ask. I'm going to say, hey, can we just chat? Can I have 15 minutes of your time? I did put in an application, but I would just like to learn a little bit about what it's like working there from someone who does work there.
And for the boot camp folks, recent college grads, if you're moving to a new town, and if you don't know somebody there, if you don't know somebody who knows somebody there, send the note anyway.
Yes.
My name is, for the context, I'm in Minneapolis, 85% of my work is here, 15% in the Bay Area. And there is some different norms to some things, both in doing a job search and how I even recruit. I recruit slightly different because every region has its own nuance of things.
Yeah.
But even if you don't know someone, like I can be the Midwest passive aggressive.
No.
I can be.
What?
And there's my confession for the day. But so don't necessarily use my tone. This is me. Don't necessarily use my tone. But it could be, my name is, I saw your post I applied online. I appreciate this might be a bit aggressive, but I want to reach out to you directly. Here's what's interesting about the role. 3 bullet points about me. I would love to have a chance to speak with you or someone on your team about this role.
Yeah.
That exceeds LinkedIn's message, a little box thing of 180 characters or something.
But thank you for saying this. And I'm not doing it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You're going to find the email.
Yep. And so
use some creepy AI tool that scrapes emails.
Well, and Google's just gotten so good now that if you just say, like, I'm looking for the email configuration for Best Buy, it takes all the 0.7 second for it to go first name dot last name.
I'm sure ChatGPT knows by this point,
it does.
too.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to reach out to a human. So that was that second thing that I had forgotten.
Right.
My squirrel moment. This is the part about using the AI tools. And again, my start being human. Like, this is the part about reaching out to another human. It's also if you are less experienced. Mm-hmm. This is the part about you learning about what does the market want. It is if you're not, if it gives you an opportunity that if someone says, well, you might not be experienced enough for this role, for you to reply back to and say, what would you need to see from me 6 months to 12 months from now when I reach out to you again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, they will actually tell you.
Yep.
Like, it's hard to get interview feedback because someone has told somebody that we don't want to get sued and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
If you say, well, what would you want to see from me? What would you want to see from someone like me before they came back to you again? They'll tell you, like, hey, it'd be great if you learned this, or if you had more experience in that, or big company or small company or startup or whatever it is. And then you have enough market intelligence after doing 7 to 10 times.
Yep.
So rejections actually can have value.
Yeah.
The hard part is, it's kind of like,
You got to go through that side door, though, because a whole lot of people are given that advice,
Yes.
like you just referenced.
but by the way, though, they're giving it, but most people still aren't taking it.
Yeah.
If I don't even know what the number is. If I take the number of resumes for software engineers in San Francisco and Seattle that I have received in my 6 weeks so far of my project, the number of people who followed up with me or anybody in the company, it is well less than 1%. Is astonishing to me. Because I appreciate that it's a forward, I appreciate that it might be aggressive, but it's also the way to likely reduce your odds of competing with all those other folks.
Well, and what you said earlier about if there's 100 candidates who've submitted and
who are the first 2 I get back to?
the ones who reach out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm an a-hole, or my company's an a-hole, and I'm going to mess with our recruiter brand, or worse, or better, because I'm human. And I will recognize, thank you for applying, even if you're not it. I can tell because if I can tell you're even still not going to be it, I am still going to get back to you.
And one of the things I've been telling students lately, or recent grads lately, because I've noticed a bit of a trend, and part of it is they're younger, and part of it is also, I think we are moving away from social media being add everybody on social media who you know. Especially among young people, they're more using social media as like television for like watching things rather than connecting with people they know. So I ran into a student the other day who had 8 connections, and his resume was great. And his photo was nice, but his photo was almost too nice. And I was looking at this for a second, and I was just like, this fits the profile of what I've been reading about for North Korean people who are trying to apply and pretend to be Americans. And so I said to him, I was just like, hey, I know that you probably, and this was a current student, so younger, right? And so it's like, I know that you probably don't want to add people on LinkedIn because it's cringy and LinkedIn sucks and we don't want to deal with that.
And I don't know how it works.
And like, oh, you're nervous about adding somebody because like, what if they think something weird about me and whatever, like blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I need you to get at least 100 people on LinkedIn. I don't care if you like them, but I want to make sure that you're a person and not a North Korean spy. Like that. And I'm like, I need you to have at least enough posts on LinkedIn so it looks like you're a human.
Well, okay.
Even if they're not good.
So I'm going to take us on a tangent.
Ooh, I love a tangent.
I'm going to do a 3.
I mean, there's been a few tangents, but I think that they're great. And I think they were all brought to you by Cirrus North.
The sponsor approves.
You guys are amazing together.
We're fun.
So one thing, and this one is fast. I've been saying this now for a year and a half. It's a slide in every deck I have done. It's a poop emoji at the beginning and a poop emoji at the end. And in the middle it says, I hope this email finds you well. Stop doing that.
You have to talk into the microphone.
Stop putting, I hope this email finds you well.
Don't do it.
For 2 reasons. 1, everyone's doing it. So stop doing it. 2,
They're not well.
because AI is telling you to do it, so everybody else is doing it. And so someone said, but AI is telling me to do it this way. I'm like, that's because AI is just feeding on a loop. Second of all, reason not to do it. Honestly, how many people are doing well right now? Like, it can't be like the worst way to start an introduction. There's a lot going on in the world, and most people, regardless of socioeconomic status, have a lot on their mind right now.
I can confirm I am not well right now.
I have been stressed for a long time. That's the first one. What's happening in recruiting now, which is what part I want to get to in a moment. The recruiting version of this that makes me shiver. That's probably a fair enough word. And LinkedIn's AI is doing this as well as 2 of the leading applicant tracking systems. That if I find your profile, it starts out the first line with, I've been following your career for some time.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. I see that in inbound, and it's just, yeah.
You have, first of all, because
Yeah.
because if you've been paying attention to LinkedIn, and if you're even just this much narcissist, which we all are, we're trying to figure out who's looked at our LinkedIn profiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you've been following it since yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're fucking, no, I finally did it. You're a fucking liar. No, you have not been following my career. So I'm saying this to my recruiter friends. They're like, well, what's wrong with that? I'm like, because you reek of an AI.
Yeah.
No.
I think something that a lot of young people struggle with, and even friends of mine struggle with, and I don't know how much of it is like, oh, we treat communication for like job hunting as like completely different than communication for anything else, is like people tend to get really formal in like cover letters or like outreach. And so even when I was hiring my interns for Swift Start Go, all the notes were like so formal. It was like, dear sir or madam. And it's like, I am a person. I am just a 1-person company. And like, I know that they don't necessarily know that. And they're like trying to do everything right. And I totally get that. But like, the more you could just talk like a regular person, I think the better. And I think AI, because so many, especially young people, when they're working on cover letters, are like, I hope this finds you well. You know, they're trying to do everything correctly, not realizing that in the work world, people just talk to each other like people. And it's not like we walk around the office. I mean,
don't write it down. What are you thinking? Don't even write it down.
I've never worked in big corporate. You've worked in big corporate. But I don't think at like Optum, they walk around saying, dear sir or madam, how may I assist you today?
What are you writing down?
Well, okay. So this is great. So I'm thinking about another previous employer where I got a chance to do a lot of interviewing and a lot of hiring, and they had a great hiring process. And that was Rally Health before being fully acquired by the Optum Borg.
Yeah.
So I was very hands-on with that hiring process because like I came in as an enthusiastic hiring manager. They literally hired me to build a Minneapolis-based DevOps team. And I'm like, I'm here for this. And I can appreciate that not every person who has a background in software engineer loves doing that stuff. It takes a lot of time and effort and commitment. And I needed to get 4 or 5 people. And so, you know, I luckily had a really great partner in the talent acquisition department who had done a lot of the LinkedIn tool scanning for me. And I had a hit list of like, say, 200, maybe 220 people like in the local market that even had some of the skills that were in scope. I wrote a letter as a hiring manager. Did it get sent out in bulk to all of those people through some tool? Yes, it did. But I wrote the letter as a hiring manager, and I was like, hey, how's it going?
Did they send it through their recruiter account? How did you, do you remember? I'm super curious about this.
I might get this wrong. There was maybe some tool called Antello or something like that. It allowed
there was. Yes.
Okay, so it allowed them to send it for me.
Yep.
And then all the replies came back, and I was able to see all the replies. And so, I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm this person. I am hiring people for this team, and I wanted you to know a little bit about like what I'm about and what the company's about and what the team's about. And I just had 3 pretty brief paragraphs. And it was about, here's the technology, here's the type of work we do, and here's
here's why you might want to work with us.
Bingo.
That isn't in the job description.
Exactly. And so it was an outbound. And so like out of that 220 odd folks that went out, we got heartfelt responses from 25 people.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I was pretty naive at that point, and I was like, well, I was hoping for more. And the talent acquisition person was like doing cartwheels.
Yes.
They were like, this is amazing.
Yes.
They're like, this doesn't happen. And a ton of them turned into really high quality candidates that came in and interviewed for us too. So I really do think like it's incredibly important to be authentic. It's incredibly important as a recruiter, I think, to find the person who's the hiring manager and get them to put some real fucking skin in the game on like why should anyone want to work here? And we've been in a topsy-turvy world. I'm frustrated with both sides of it. Like 4 years ago, you had a bunch of diva engineers being like, oh, I'm going to quit and go get a job upgrade some other place. And they could. And, I think that has a lot to do with actually many software engineers who are still struggling to find a position now because they haven't figured out that they can't have that same mindset.
The market changed.
The market changed. But now you've kind of got like diva companies and diva hiring managers to be
It swung the other way.
Right? And they're like, we demand 1,000 applicants and maybe we will talk to 2 of them or something like that. So it's like, could everyone just be normal? Could everyone just be like human beings and like actually pretend that they wanted to find other human beings that they might enjoy working with? That would be too simple. So anyways, it really resonates with me, like the artificiality. The other thing that I want to tangent back to briefly is, I get like a reasonable stream of cringy stuff on LinkedIn, but the LinkedIn inbound, flow is just nothing like what it was, 3 years ago for candidates and for technical folks. But I'm a small business owner. Holy shit.
How many sales pitches are you getting in an hour? How many did you get while we were here? I bet you it's 4. It has to be.
I think that's fair.
One every 45 minutes? Or a half hour?
That makes sense.
I'm hitting that spam button 10 times a day in my main inbox and just trying to, clear stuff out. And it is all using that. We've been following the growth of your company and it's fucking great. We want to buy you. Or like, don't you want to maximize your outbounds? And it's just like, no, I'm like, all my business comes from people that I know or that I've worked with. Or
try the answer once, like they want to buy you, like, here's my crypto address. and see if they're legit or not.
I like that.
Like it's
LinkedIn can be a very silly place. And it was not brought to you by Serious North.
Yeah, there's some that invite me onto podcasts, and I'm like, no, there's only one podcast for me, and it's this one.
Swift Start Go.
Yeah.
It is uncanny how good the two of you are.
There's a reason his team has been trying to get him on the show for a while.
Yeah, I'm kind of a hot takes machine, but I try to avoid being recorded for it. Keeps it more magical.
And with that, we're going to cut to another commercial break with Serious North. Episode, we just keep citing it.
I can't see how we could stop now.
Oh gosh. Remind me, what does Serious North do? And it's something about clouds and Kubernetes and things being topsy-turvy?
Absolutely, and a bunch of other buzzwords too. But do you have software? Is it having problems?
Does it have problems? Do you have problems?
Several. Are those problems in the cloud? We know how to help with almost all of that. We also are great at security and compliance. And if you need to rent a technical executive to come in and help you right the ship, I'm your guy to help out.
And I am not the one you should call. You should call Serious North. Thanks, everyone. Back to the show. And we're back. But before we really dive into what the future of hiring and AI looks like, I want to hear from both of you guys. One sentence each. Nothing else.
What do you got?
All right. What should people be doing for job hunting in this market? And yes, you can do a run-on sentence. It just can't be more than one sentence.
All right. I'll go steal Paul's thunder. Meet as many people as you can in the market or job type that you want to work, and never stop going to events where you meet people that are in that space. They are going to be who get you a job.
Love it.
That's a 10 out of 10 right there. I'm going to just go back to what I said before, that you got to reach out to a human, whether it's a hiring manager, an HR director, a technology recruiter. It could be a CEO if it's a startup company of less than 50 people. But after applying for a job, you need to reach out to a human.
And my advice is, in addition to everything that they've said, is find ways to put yourself out there, make yourself stand out, whether it's posting on LinkedIn or doing something else in social media, and also experimenting with different types of projects to showcase your work, especially if you are early in your career. So if you're interested in being a filmmaker, make a quick film that you're really proud of. It can be a minute long, and that's still something that's going to help you.
Rock on with that one. Yeah.
All right. And now we're going to dive into the future. Are you ready for the future?
Maybe.
I think it's already here.
Yeah.
And I don't think I like it either. But
Oh, dang. All right.
It's creepy.
Well, here's the thing. I want to know everything that you guys are thinking about when you're thinking about the future of hiring. And then maybe if we really feel rebellious, we should talk about whether there will be jobs in the future. But
yes. Two of my favorite topics.
I really want to know, how do you see AI reshaping hiring practices right now? Or maybe what's going on now that is going to be continuing to happen in the future? And what are things that are starting to emerge that are going to have a really big impact?
So I'll give you some ideas of what's going on that I want your feedback on this.
Cool.
One is there is, it escapes me the name of the company. I feel bad.
What kind of a company?
An HR tech company.
Workday.
An actual legit HR tech company.
Dang.
So that takes care of Workday.
That does eliminate a lot of companies.
In 2024, I saw a product plan that went from 2024 to 2030, what they were going to be doing with AI to help streamline hiring for companies and for candidates. They're looking at both sides of the street. Mm-hmm. Their co-founder was at a recruiting conference that I was at the end of April. Mm-hmm. And she went through, here's what the product plan was. And then she goes, and it isn't any longer. She goes, we'll be done with this by the end of 26.
Woo.
And that was the reaction of the room was, okay, I read your white paper 9 months ago.
Yeah.
And it was 24 to 30. And you're telling me at the end of 26, you're going to be done.
Yeah.
And so some of these things make a lot of sense to my talent acquisition, people brain. And so what's being done right now is that it is with NPS scores being freaky high in some roles, some verticals, and even it depends on region, like where you are in the country or the world. They are now able to. They've been training their AI where, let's say you are hiring a DevOps engineer in Minneapolis that's hybrid.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That almost table stakes now is that I, as your candidate applying for your job, can finally just attach my resume without having to actually fill out all the fields.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yay!
Yeah. My God.
We finally made it.
It's unbelievable it took this long, Paul.
And I bet only 15 or 20% of the systems actually can do that yet, though.
Yeah.
But I can fill out your application. I can answer your questions. I can give all the info that you've been looking for. And if I have, for lack of a better word, check the boxes, but I don't mean it in the way that negative way it sounds. But like, I am in Minneapolis. I'm looking for a hybrid. I do have this experience, and it's a chatbot working with me on this.
Yeah.
When I get to the end, I'm already getting dropped in your calendar that I can now already schedule a call with you, and this only took me 7 minutes,
Yeah.
is a freaking home run of a win for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you are a qualified candidate for that role, I can already be scheduling a video call or a phone call with you next Thursday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think we all can agree is awesome. The next stage of this is your company can now actually have me interview with a human-looking bot type thing. Their technology, though, is actually really good. It actually looks very human, sounds very human, like the words and the lips actually match. Like, we're not talking about like weird video from 3 years ago. And I can now do the first screen with you, but I can also do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can do it Saturday at 6. You could do this it's being used in one area as transportation, because now truck drivers can be doing interviewing for a company on the road at a truck stop at 2 o'clock in the morning versus having to schedule a call at 8:15 on a Thursday when they're on the road.
Yep.
For me as a human, I'm not such a huge fan of this because I want to talk to another human.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is the convenience factor
Right.
that now I can actually, and so now you're getting the transcript. You're now, like, you've already done the first screen with me and it didn't take you any time. And every human can actually take their shot now,
Yep.
because some filtering system isn't actually knocking them out, because it is no bearing to your company if you had 20 people or 200 people do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
As a candidate, I now get a shot.
Right.
I think that's good.
You're talking about filtering systems
Yeah.
for job hunting.
Yeah.
I believe you mean like ATS systems. So I noticed, and interns, I love you, I promise. I noticed that a lot of the questions that my interns sent in when asking about job hunting had to do with more ATS systems than AI, and asking questions where it became clear that they didn't know how ATS systems and how these filtering systems work. Could you just really quickly share?
Yeah, it's a good sidestep here.
Yeah.
Because there's the theory out there, again, the doom scrolling on LinkedIn and or TikTok, social media influencers.
Listen, don't forget about Instagram. Come on.
I know. But most of the folks on Instagram, maybe it's just the ones that I follow, are actually reasonable, sane adults.
Oh, that's just your algorithm, man.
Does that make me a sane, rational adult? You should not have hesitated that half a heartbeat.
Yeah.
That's
Of course
you
you're
just
sane,
judged
Paul.
me.
We can edit that
sorry,
pause out.
Paul.
You just AI'd me.
Emery, don't cut this.
She AI'd me. When you're applying for a role, and we mentioned it a while ago, that up until now it is still keyword, buzzword, acronym matching.
Right.
So going back to the beginning, yes, as long as you have the skills that the job description lists, you would like to add them into your resume and or cover letter that you are writing.
Right.
The answer would be yes. The answer would be yes. That sounded like BS, and I wanted to enunciate for the record.
It would be. Yes.
Yes, you should. So it's still a lot like trying to find stuff on Google. It's SEO, right? You still want to, when you have those skill sets, you want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely on that. The AI, though, so again, I'm using, at Ventura, we're using Lever, which is a very popular applicant tracking system. And while they did a couple of updates the last 2 weeks that I haven't looked at because I haven't had time to absorb, and maybe there's some cool thing in there that I don't know about yet, possible, it is still me looking at every resume.
Yeah.
I am the filter.
Yep.
And what I also want to do, and this is a reminder to me, and I'm thinking out loud, is I also need to make sure that I go back and add in our job description that your resume is being looked at by a human and not an AI tool.
Yeah.
Is a win for us.
Yeah.
Because again, whether it's Instagram influencers or the TikTok folks or the Doom folks on LinkedIn, people are saying, well, the AI is kicking me out, or the AI, no, it's not. It's not smart enough yet. It is not there. It is maybe the job match, the natural language processing.
There's keyword matching.
That absolutely is happening.
They're going to give you a percent calculation.
And some do, and even Lever doesn't have that, and they've been around forever.
Yep.
I have used them where it'll say like you're a 78% match.
Yeah.
So again, we have this like thought that like AI is I don't want to use the phrase that AI is the devil. That's just what's coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like AI is this like,
It's like a minor level demon.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could go there.
Sure.
I think we put more power into it than actually exists. Like it's not actually that smart a lot of the time.
Not yet. And it will be a while. Will it get to be that part? Of course it will be. Which gets me to, that software that I've been demoing, they have it down to, they believe by the end of 26, that you can do that initial screen, you can do the first video screen, you can do a culture screen, and then get to the hiring manager.
Right.
And you can do that in 4 days or less.
Yeah.
Now, you have automated a bunch of things that had been very human-centered,
Yep.
Oh, don't hit your microphone bar.
that were very human-centered. Would you, as a candidate, be willing to deal with a bot that's good, pretty good to good, to do a video interview with an agent that is not human if it got you through faster and to the hiring manager quicker?
So I actually have the perfect video to show you about this.
I watched it. It's very appropriate for
It's
this
very
question.
appropriate for exactly what we're talking about.
Can I segue on this one? Just
For
a
the
bit?
record, I was not aware of this.
Yeah.
It's my turn
Yeah.
to talk, Adam. Is
Oh,
yours
okay.
really good, though?
Well, I want to just forgive me, in defense of ATS systems.
Oh, someone's defending ATS systems?
Well, first of all,
Bold
we need
move.
them. We actually
I
need
thought
them.
you were against ATS systems.
I'm skeptical of everyone, especially myself and everyone in this
By the way,
room.
applicant tracking system.
Yes, applicant
John,
tracking
me were
system.
jargon
Yeah.
dropping.
So again, as a small company, I had a need to build my talent network when we had a slew of opportunities become available, and I was highly targeted with where I put that post out. But I'll give them a shout out. There's a free applicant tracking system that's called Dover, and they've got they've got some functionality in there where you can pay recruiters to help you with stuff. But if you're going to source everything yourself, their system is free. But what you talked about, they don't have like an AI screener, at least not that I'm aware of. But I was able to get a link out that got resumes. There was some sort of a keyword match on it, but I could review the resumes and then push them forward if they met the qualifications. I set up 2 or 3 quick templates that was basically kind of a HubSpot sequence-like experience. From me putting the post out, half a day later, I already had like close to 10 decent resumes of people that I was going to advance forward. And then when I put out the next message, I had 2.5 days of my next week fully booked with screening meetings. And it was done like that. And I was like, this is a good experience for everybody.
Yes.
And so there's nothing like AI going on there. It was just business process automation and just condensing the experience and like making, it didn't create a bunch of waiting and guessing for folks. I came away super impressed with the whole thing. And as a hiring manager, I was like, this just made my day. The amount of bullshit that I had to do to get, 5 or 6 really high quality interviews was very, very little. So
Thank you for
Dover, I love you.
Thank you for saying the automation piece, because that is almost everything that everybody's experiencing right now.
Yeah.
These things are automating processes. The AI is not yet involved.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I have to always remind our recruiter friends and our talent acquisition and then our CHRO folks that is where we are right now.
Yeah, it's just keywords. It's just, did this resume have enough of the keywords or the correct amount of keywords?
And there is enough nuance where some of the stuff is getting better than it was, but it's still going to be a way to go.
Yeah.
And so I'm always curious about asking folks though, like if you could automate your job search and get through it in 4 days, even if it was bot or an agent or a video of not a, it is me, but it's not me.
Yeah.
Would we be willing to give on that if it got us to an end faster? And as long as the data on the back end doesn't have bias in it, it now means that anybody with any name, like all of the unconscious bias things that go into it now, if we are training it appropriately, some of that now gets taken out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Your turn, Carolyn.
thank you, Adam. I'm so glad you're allowing me to talk on my podcast. This has been brought to you by Serious
Serious
North. Sorry. Okay.
I'm going to laugh every time. I think this is so good. I love this.
We've got good rapport. Anyways, so for context, in case anybody isn't aware, I somehow have pulled off job hunting nearly every year of my career.
Congratulations.
Which has now been over a decade.
Have you ever just huddled in a corner and cried?
Are you asking,
As a
has that
strategy?
ever happened?
Or are you?
Or how many days a week?
Oh. Which also in and of itself could be a podcast.
Me crying?
No, talking about actual experiences you've had.
Oh, yeah, because I've had so many different types of experiences. And what's interesting is, on one hand, what you're proposing, having people interview with AI avatars, so not real people who are coming on screens and talking to you. Or I would say basically the same thing is the audio recording ones, where you record audio to answer the questions and whatnot. I think that would have been incredibly helpful for me as a young person, because when I graduated college, I think in the first 3 or 4 years of job hunting, and granted I did have jobs at various times, I think I had a total of 4 interviews. And I sent out hundreds, if not over 1,000 applications. And then I also went to events and I also met people, but I was in New York City trying to break into comedy, so it's extra tough, right? Trying to break into Hollywood. It's extra competitive, okay? But then also interviewing at ad agencies and interviewing at basically anybody who would talk to me, but no one would talk to me. No one was interested. And what I discovered later is this was also part of a mini baby boom. I don't know if you guys saw in the New York Times last year, but they described what they called peak millennials, which is not apparently peak cringy millennials, but a period between, if you were born between 1990 and 1992, there was a miniature baby boom within the millennials. And so there were far more job applicants, there were far more college applicants, there were far more everything every year. And so I was part of a phenomena of more people than
you were
companies
special.
were. Yeah, I was special. And especially never getting calls back. And so
Shouldn't be laughing.
But the thing is, if we were to have that kind of a tool when I was in that period, somebody who was a film major, who almost had a theater major, who's very comfortable talking to camera, probably would have killed it, which would have been great. But at the same time, I think putting people in artificial environments tends to make most people more nervous.
Oh, absolutely. And
than
I'm one of them.
talking to people.
I'm one of them. Yeah.
And so I don't really know whether or not, I think it would have been super helpful for me because I am, somebody who could talk to camera and say, hi, my name is Carolyn Holden, and I can, nail it on camera. But I don't know that is actually how you're going to get the best candidates. It might just be getting the best salespeople or the best actors.
Ooh, so here's a segue for you. So when we think about our LinkedIn profiles and then our profiles in general, okay? So the tools that are out there today, two that immediately come to mind, one is called Hire Easy. One of them is called Seek Out. For the record, I've been a customer of both. And I do a podcast with Hire Easy. So this is I'm HR neutral or HR tech neutral on this. Right now, if I had access to the Hire Easy system, and if I were to do a search and you were to come up in it, it would already have your LinkedIn profile, your X account, your Blue Sky account, your Instagram account. And if it were a technology person, I also would have GitHub, Stack Overflow, Meetup.com, blah, 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 blah.
Nope.
Do I need a blue sky?
Well,
oh my God.
You don't have one?
And so that's where it is.
Shocked.
That's where it is today. And it has been for years already.
Yeah.
That I can one click you.
Right.
Because it has been aggravating is also a word that has been aggravating and aggregating LinkedIn and everything else for a really long time. And up until now, we know that our LinkedIn profiles are also scored, right? Do you have a photo? Do you have a headline? Do you have, I can't remember.
By scored, I mean, as a recruiter, are you seeing a score, or you just
No.
mean that when we build our account, it tells us very good job? Because I have a perfect score on my LinkedIn.
Because it used to be like they ranked you and like you had to get to all-star. And I don't know what it's called now anymore, but there's actual criteria. Like you have to have 3 or 5 recommendations. I'm forgetting some of you had to have had 2 or 3 employers.
Sure.
So that's how it works today, right? So when I'm doing a search on LinkedIn, if I'm doing a Boolean search and looking for a 5-year JavaScript developer in Minneapolis with 2 flavors, I'm going to get 2, 5, 700 search results. The way it's going now is that these tools are now we already know your accounts. We're now scoring your accounts. We are now scoring every update you post anywhere. So what's going to happen is
Manually, or is there a process for this?
it's in the algorithm.
Okay.
So
When you put the links in.
my
basically.
search of 500 folks is now going to come back with, here are the 89 best folks we found for you.
Yeah.
The automated system
Yep.
is.
The
Okay.
problem with that, though, well, there's a bunch of problems, but one of them is that garbage in, garbage out on the data.
Yep.
Right.
Right? So you could have the most optimized LinkedIn profile, GitHub account, all of your accounts, and you're just going to outscore someone. Does that mean you're a better fit for them? So
Yeah.
here's one of the holes in the AI piece. That's one. 2 is that if your profiles lack content, if you have not posted on LinkedIn with some regularity, you will now be demoted. So I have a friend here in town who worked at Lead Pages, a startup here in town. Lead Pages, then they went to Meta. They were at Anthropic for a while.
Ooh, Anthropic.
And I can't remember where they are now. They're back in Minneapolis. On the LinkedIn search, they don't come up because there is nothing up behind their employers, right? We teach people all the time, fill out your LinkedIn profiles, like actually fill it out, have it actually be more content than what your resume has.
Yep.
But he just has employer and date, employer date, employer date, and has not done an update in a year.
Yep.
Actually, now I think about it, he actually did appear at like somewhere between 425 and 500 on the search. With these new AI tools, he won't even pop up. And so I start thinking, so for people who are listening to this, like, I don't like to be on the social stuff, and I certainly don't like to be on LinkedIn, get over it.
Yep.
I'm just
It's
sorry.
just so weird because there is like a major cultural shift. I
There's-
mean, going on Facebook right now, the only people who are posting there are my elderly relatives. My friends are gone.
You just called me elderly.
No, you're not elderly.
We're also not friends on Facebook. So
That explains it. Maybe I just need new, better friends on Facebook.
you just need better, slightly younger than elderly folks.
Yeah. That explains it.
But it is going to be incumbent, though, that these tools are going to score us. And if we are not putting out some content,
Yeah.
we're going to score less. So I go a step further, though. How many DevOps, back to your DevOps, how many of those folks went AWOL since 2021 when they were getting tired of a bunch of recruiter in-mail, and they all took their profiles down or they stripped it out so they couldn't be found?
Yeah.
Now,
They're suffering for it.
won't even...
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely the case.
Very good.
This show has been brought to you by Cirrus North and my friend Adam here, who really does not like being on camera.
I get over it, but only when I'm in friendly environments. And thank you, Carolyn, for creating a friendly environment for me to be a ham on camera.
Yeah.
I'm getting it over.
And actually, this is a stick up. I need you to really tell us about what we...
Okay, is your cloud sad? Does it cost a bunch of money? Is it tipping over all the time? Those are things that I can help with. You should reach out and talk to me about how Cirrus North can help you in your sad cloud.
For those who don't want to be on social media, that's fine. But your LinkedIn profile, like, it's got to be the core of who you are, what we do, and how we're going to find you. And so these tools are going to take, like, did you do a post about Minibar? And do you have a photo with you and your VP and so on? The other side to this is that for a lot of these tools now are getting written for hiring managers and no longer for recruiters. Right. So to spin that back on us now, it's going to be that your VP of product, your director of marketing are actually going to start turning into some of your recruiters now. And what's happening is, so Perplexity CEO large AI company had a splash last week where he said that there were 2 roles that AI is going to replace in the next 6 months, and one of them was recruiters, and it went viral. And if you want to be fun about it, like go into Perplexity's AI tool and ask it what it thinks about its Perplexity CEO's statement on this, and it does not agree with his, which is always fun to do. But for hiring managers, though, like their content's going to start getting scored. There are people who are going to create tools. There's a couple of groups that are already working on them who are actually going to start scoring companies. Mm-hmm. And I think we all would applaud that.
Yeah.
That this gets spun back on us.
I want more scrutiny for managers.
Absolutely.
Bad managers suck.
And so it'll take like LinkedIn Insights and are you hiring or have you been letting go? And like, what are your press releases? And has your CEO spoken at an event? Because they're going to need to start doing the things that we want our candidates to have been doing this whole time. And so when we talk about where is it, that's where it's going. And the concern is what happens to the folks who are now off the grid?
Yeah.
What happens to the folks who don't want to be active on a LinkedIn-like tool? And will they now not be found? And that's a bias. Mm-hmm. But the answer, at least in the short run, apparently is yes.
You know what comes to mind? This is like an unfortunate analogy, but I think some of the same principles hold up. Is like, you know, at some point in our lives, hopefully we're at a point that we had like 0 debt. But you also had 0 credit. And so you might think that like, oh, I have no debt and maybe I have some money in the checking account. So if I'm going to go try to get a loan, like that should work. I don't have any debt that I'm dragging around. But then it turns out the credit score is a curious thing because they're like, well, wait a minute. You know, you don't have any debt? Oh, I don't know if we can give you debt. We can't extend you credit.
We don't know if we can trust you.
And so there's this advice that's out there that's around, you know, credit and finance, which is like, oh, well, you get an intro credit card, a secured credit card. You give them some money that like actually backs it up and you just go use it. You just exercise it. Mm-hmm. So you need to build that track record. Mm-hmm. And it's immediately and then like, even now, like I'm lucky enough to have mostly good debt. Mm-hmm. But there are times when I've seen my credit score go down because I don't use enough of my credit.
Yes.
Or I don't have enough open lines of credit at the same time. Mm-hmm. And again, it's just like, excuse me, what? That should make me a better target for getting a loan.
Because you've been responsible.
Because I've been responsible. But actually, that whole credit score, that might be aligned towards, are you a good customer? Mm-hmm. Which also means like you shouldn't pay your credit card off every month because like that's not a great customer for the bank or for the merchants. They'd prefer you pay a penalty once in a while. Anyways, that's immediately what I think of as an analogy for what you're talking about. It's like having no credit on LinkedIn is bad.
It's like the old saying, like it's better to have a good or a bad reputation, but have no reputation is the worst.
Yes. I think that is also true.
It's very true.
Yeah. It's so interesting too, because just culturally, especially among younger people, less and less people are posting. And and it's so funny because people my age, I mean, frankly, I'm at a point where I just want to delete everything. I'm sick of like the algorithm and stuff. And I'm somebody who posts onto the algorithm, right? And so, but it's like, I'm at the point where it's like, I don't know that I want my personal things on the internet anymore. Yeah. But at the same time, the only way I've gotten jobs in the last few years has been by being a public-facing person on LinkedIn and on social media. Yep. The last job that I got was because I did a podcast interview with Michael Arolfo. Hi. And I posted that interview on LinkedIn, and a guy who was trying to pitch Michael Arolfo and was looking him up on LinkedIn saw the podcast interview 6 days after it was published and said, how did this kid get an interview with him? And called me and looked at my LinkedIn, saw the open to work banner.
Yep. Oh, wait, it works.
And said, wait, we can hire her? And they hired me like 4 days later.
Yeah.
And so...
This is the real world. This is how it actually happens.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Also, like I'm a relatively novice small business owner. I mean, I'm happy to have a business that's going to be 2 years old pretty soon here.
Congratulations, by the way.
Right?
Because that's not easy.
Way to go, man.
Thank you. There's going to be year 3, and I'm looking forward to it. So But same thing, I don't love self-promotion, and I don't go out of my way to create content online, but I understand that like my first responsibility is sales.
Yeah.
Yep.
And sales, people need to know you exist, even if most of my sales is driven through network. So I'm like, I need to create a healthy diet. It doesn't need to be a ton of stuff, but I need to have a couple things that are real and authentic on
And they
LinkedIn
don't-
every month.
And you know what's really authentic? This
This
podcast
podcast.
is brought to you by Cirrus North.
The hack for this is, for the record, I don't like posting about me. I despise it. If on Instagram you follow me, like it is almost all sunset photos. It will be Gopher football photos starting in a month when college football season starts. I said it a long time ago. Well, it feels like it wasn't a long time ago, but at the beginning of our conversation, I love promoting everybody else.
Right.
I'm with you. I love events.
And so you going, we were all talking about the Communiful event that's going on. Like
Yeah.
you going there and you getting a photo with the founders is you promoting them.
yes.
And you get a little love for doing it yourself, but that is not your intent and it's not why you're doing it, because you want to promote your friends and the people in your community.
Yep.
And so if you're a hiring manager, get a photo of you and your product team or your marketing team or
Yeah.
your sales team or your interns or whatever it might be. And if you're an intern, get a photo with you and your boss and promote them. And make it about everybody else
Yes.
so it feels less weird or less self-promotional,
Yeah.
but still gets you what you need.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do is to give shout outs to people.
I love talking about everybody else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rather than
That's fun.
I typically don't post about myself. If I talk about myself, something bad has happened.
But I love that. I do think that's the best hack. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of a distasteful thing to go out there and do rank self-promotion, but it becomes a lot more palatable and a lot more tasteful if you're putting a spotlight on other people and it's cool to shine a light on the organizations that you support. There's a lot of good people and good organizations that are doing good work. So
That's
you
important
know,
right there.
Yeah. It's like if that's the way that like one is accumulating LinkedIn credits.
I'll
or
take that
whatever.
karma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All day.
Speaking of putting the spotlight on other people, we're going to pivot.
done.
Listen, I'm good at this.
It's like you know what you're doing.
I know. This is brought to you by.
Cirrus North.
Oh, we broke Paul. Okay. So
We knew we were
now,
gonna get him.
Speaking of featuring other people,
Wait, hold on.
What?
I want to say, for real, I've done a few of these before.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think I've had this much fun.
Oh, really?
For real. I'm not.
Well, thank you.
Really. I like that. I love this. This is,
Yeah.
and that we get to help some folks along the way.
I'm a podcast first timer, so I'm really glad to hear that.
Really?
That feedback. I'm just a ham 24/7 in real life, but I don't usually go on TV.
I just
about
hang out with Adam at events, and I knew he'd be fun.
it. Yeah.
I would have thought this. Wow. Okay. Well done.
Adam, maybe we need a podcast.
I'm telling you, the two of you are amazing.
I ain't gonna say no. Maybe this self-promotion thing is rubbing off on me.
Or maybe we need to feature somebody else and thank St. Olaf College, yeah, for giving us an education that made us fun.
By the way, I dropped out, but if you want to give me my degree for saying nice things on a podcast, I'll take it.
This podcast has also been brought to you by interns from St. Olaf College. Thank you, St. Olaf.
Speaking of interns,
Speaking of interns and featuring other people, we have now come to our final portion of the podcast where we're going to get some rapid fire questions from our interns. The good news is I've removed the questions where people were confused about ATS systems. The bad news is that you have to answer each of these as quickly and as shortly as possible. And I know that is something that you are both very skilled at, keeping things very concise.
I'll shut my yap.
All right. You did really well earlier when you had one sentence answers.
that were run-on sentences. But
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I think you did 3, but that's okay.
Can the sentences have semicolons? I do appreciate a semicolon.
No, actually, only M dashes are allowed. Sorry.
I can work with that.
All right. So I want both of you answering each question because otherwise I don't know how we're going to navigate this, and I want it to be fast.
'Kay,
We're
ready.
going to have Adam go first each time because his name starts with A,
Oh,
and yours starts
And
with P.
it's sponsored by.
Cirrus North.
Cirrus North.
Thanks, Cirrus North. Great lead-in, Paul. Wow.
Getting-
It's like you finally joined the team.
It's like I'm listening. You're rubbing off on me.
You know, maybe you should this should just be a weekly podcast. Of all 3 of us.
I'd love to do that.
All right. So, rapid fire. Are you ready?
I am ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Sorry.
All right. Number 1, what skills are we seeing lacking in the workforce today?
Holy cow.
Soft skills and critical thinking.
Yes. That is the answer, though.
Okay. What should graduating students ensure they know/can do when applying for jobs?
Be able to communicate effectively and understand what the business does.
It's okay to apply for a role that's slightly over what you are currently qualified for to help you create a conversation and get in the door.
Amazing. Do you see any ethical concerns with AI-driven hiring, and how are they addressed?
Yes, they are all over the place, and I think we're all figuring that out at the same time.
I don't mean to be like yeah and ditto, but yes, there are issues, and we have to work with the systems, and we have to also get over it.
Yeah.
Like it's just not going away.
What are common biases you've seen in AI hiring tools, or maybe just ATS systems? I don't know how you want to handle this, and how do you address them?
I don't know. I might pass on this one. I'm not sure.
This is a Paul question.
Oh crap!
Sorry, Paul.
And you want it to go fast.
Yeah. And you can't just use Adam's answer either.
I know because I can't.
See, I got you on that one.
Oh, dang. What common biases you've seen in AI hiring tools, and how do you address them?
You know, I don't know that I have.
That's a bad question.
No, it's a really good question. But I think the answer is it's unknown because I think we have not gotten into this far enough to know if the bias is in there yet.
Right.
Like it's there.
Like the bias is definitely in there, but what is it? We're not sure.
That's the answer. We are such at a early stage to this.
Yeah.
It is. Well, hold on. But there is the one though from a couple. I know I'm going short, but Amazon did the thing years ago where they had uploaded all of the resumes from all of their engineers.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make it so they could. The idea was that they had hired too many dudes. They were trying to hire more women.
Yeah.
So everyone applauds that. But all the resumes that got put in were all from a bunch of dudes.
Right. And so their system automatically started getting rid of women.
Even more dudes.
Yeah.
And that's an example of this. And that's a simple one. But it took them, it was like 2.5 years.
To figure it out.
So this is why I'm saying I think we're too early for
And
the
then
answer.
we had that Workday lawsuit that came out recently where they said that.
So there's a guy who applied for a bunch of jobs, and it appears to him and others and some attorneys that they were able to. It was some ageism,
Yes.
and it was consistent
40+.
within the Workday technology.
Yeah.
That it seemed that he was getting immediate rejections for things, and was that based on either years of experience or when his college degree was.
I have several friends who agree.
Yeah, I have some friends too. Yep.
Yeah.
And friends who are in the TA space who are also.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you ain't gain points for having a good answer, but you lose points because you didn't say it in a sentence.
I didn't breathe.
That's true. Okay. Never mind. All right. Last question. In what ways do you think AI tools can be improved to provide fairer, more accurate candidate evaluations? These are terrible speed questions. I'm sorry.
I think these are the great questions.
Well, but they're the ones, the meaty ones
Oh,
that
that's
we're
true.
talking about.
So I'm inspired by Paul's long answer, so I'm going to go a little bit long.
Ah, dang.
I don't have a single answer for how can the AI tools be improved, but I will share something that I did, as a person who was helping select a candidate. I took all my notes that I wrote about all the candidates that I had panel interview with, and I had written my own summaries, and I pumped that into the AI, and I said, am I scoring these candidates fairly?
Well done.
And tell me where my biases are.
Well done.
And I didn't love everything that I got back,
Yep.
but it changed what I wrote in my summaries that I submitted to the hiring manager.
Very cool.
That's the mic drop.
Yeah.
I mean, for real, that's a mic drop moment, though. I would bet less than 5% of hiring managers today are doing that, but that is the right thing to do. If we're training these systems well, it should offer up opportunity for those who have been underrepresented for a really long time, because we're no longer doing things on names,
Right.
because that's always the easy one.
Oh no, it's Carolyn again, a lady.
I mean, for the podcast. I mean, here she is again.
I mean, tech bros probably wrote the algorithm. So
Dang.
But I think the tools though can be used to make things more fair, to make things more accessible.
Yep.
Like in the sense of like I can now go do this at 3:00 in the morning, but I work because I work a second shift. And maybe now I can get an interview that I otherwise wouldn't have because either I was working, I was sleeping, or whatnot. Like there are ways that this may allow for more opportunity for folks, and we need more fairness
Yeah.
in these systems.
Right.
I breathed during that one.
You did. I'm so disappointed in you.
I'm so sorry.
You really should work on not breathing. I think that would really improve just your output and everything in life.
This was really awesome.
this is a great conversation.
But for real.
Yeah.
I'm not being sarcastic though.
Yeah.
Guys, you're not supposed to flatter me until when the camera's turned off. Oh my gosh.
No, I think this is, I'm being serious, whether I was here or not. These conversations need to be held. These conversations need to get out there so that folks aren't getting their advice from TikTok folks. And this, I've said, I bash social media influencers a lot during this, and I mean to.
Yeah, especially me.
No, because you're I don't know that I would call you a social media influencer because I think of you as a human
I know.
with an actual soul who's actually trying to put out good content versus you're trying to make $1.50 for every click.
I mean, there's a reason why this podcast is brought to you by Cirrus North. So sorry, we've done this entirely too many times.
I could keep doing that all night. But thank you for having me be here though, for real.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for joining. I mean, like this would not have worked without having this dialogue. So really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
For sure.
You're doing good stuff.
I'm going to ask you guys one last gotcha question.
Yeah.
And I need you to answer it in as few words as possible.
Yes, the Gophers are going to beat the Badgers this year.
That's not the question.
It should be your question. Okay, what
Okay.
else? What do you have as that? That's more important than that.
Oh
Is
my
it about
God.
my parking?
No, it's not about your parking.
Okay.
But we're going to ask this one question and then we're going to do an outro, okay?
Got it.
So, the question is, will AI take all of our jobs?
I'm a hard no on that. I think we're ready for a hard rebound to humanity. But I think the jobs that humans do are going to change in ways we can't even imagine.
All right.
I think we're going to lose more jobs than we're going to gain. And I think countries, I think the globe needs to figure out how we're going to handle that.
Yeah.
I don't think all of the jobs are going away. I think a lot of jobs are changing. My job is changing, and my job already has been changing. I mean, I'll tell you, like, if most folks will say in the talent acquisition space that we had a 40% increase from COVID to last year. First of all, in theory, we would need to lose that 40% to get back to a 2019 economy, which is what we're in today.
Yeah.
Now add the AI piece.
Yeah.
Right.
And if we lose another 20 or 30%, most folks believe we'll end up about 40% of where we are today, which means 60% of the people are going to lose their jobs.
Right.
Now, some will get created, some will evolve, and some people are going to have to go to other things.
Right.
I'm not a doomsdayer, but I think there's way more change coming at us than most of us are ready for.
Yeah. I think we're not going to see a lot of jobs coming back to already existing companies, but I do think more companies are going to be formed in ways that we can't currently anticipate. The question is, how quickly is that going to happen? And what are we going to do in the meantime when there is a large gap of jobs that are very much needed?
Folks in my space will think that there are more contractors, consultants, project folks that are going to be turned out of this, that a lot of us will have fewer 401k benefit paying jobs than we have as society has been used to.
Yeah.
That we will become now more interchangeable parts, and that can be good and bad.
Can I add two things briefly here?
Yeah.
One is I agree with what Paula just said.
That's why I said yeah.
And when I stepped away from my job a couple of years ago, I didn't exactly know what the future was going to look like, but I thought that it was a wise time to learn how to hustle and learn how to be nimble in the marketplace rather than just rely on having a single company to be, my boss all the time. Yeah. The other thing on the optimism tip, and sorry, this is a little bit like kind of economic philosophy.
Keep going.
There's this thing that I have read and have heard about. It's called, if I'm getting it right, it's called Javon's paradox. And so the basic idea is that there are some things that exist in the world where there's no theoretical max supply limit. Like we live in a world that has supply and demand. Theoretically, even if every American loved steak, there's like only so many steaks that we could all eat every day. There's an upper limit. Electricity might be a thing for which there is no effective upper limit, because if electricity became infinitely cheap, we would find infinite bullshit to run with electricity. I think AI and honestly human endeavor and creative output might be one of those things.
Ooh.
I am hoping that it is one of those things. So when I say I think we're going to get a rebound to humanity, but the jobs are going to look way different, that is the thing that I'm really rooting for, that we're going to come back to, that all the skills that we've had for the last 50 years, those might get automated away. But I'm a long-term optimist that there's a infinite capacity for human creativity and for just output. It might become more creative output and more soft skill output. I'm hoping it allows people to be more people. There's going to be a lot of disruption before we get there, but I'm still rooting for Star Trek.
And with that, thank you everybody for joining us today at Swift Start Go. Again, my name is Carolyn Holden. If you like this show, we would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, or follow us on Substack, or follow me on LinkedIn, wherever it is you get your content, I suppose. I'm going to ask each of you guys this one at a time. Paul, if people want to reach out to you, where's the best place to find you?
mnheadhunter.com. Is on LinkedIn, the URL for LinkedIn and X and Instagram. And if you are into sunset photos, follow me on Instagram.
All right.
Because that's more fun.
Indeed. All right. And Adam, how can people find you or Cirrus North?
Yeah. Well, I'm a good little small business owner, and I have an outpost on LinkedIn. Come find me there. You can come find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm Adam-Johnson-MN. There's only a couple of me in Minnesota.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.